Hello everyone. I'm going to attempt to do a short-ish, as short as I can make it, video to explain how to annotate a PDF when it comes in and what happens when that PDF comes back to me and how I deal with it to then send you back a revised version. So this is how to annotate a PDF. Now I have full Acrobat on this system. You would probably have Reader, so I'm going to work in Reader. So if I double click this, it will open into Acrobat Full. So I'm going to force it to open with Acrobat Reader in this instance so that you see what I see. So it's opened up. I'm just going to work through two or three examples of the types of changes you can make, the types of notes you can add, when it's best to use sticky notes, when it's best to highlight text using the text highlighting tools, and other things as we work through, and then what I see when I receive that coming back and how I deal with it. So in the first instance, everything's nice and clear on the screen. You want to start making notes, etc. So what we want is to do is our comment. You've got three tools up at the top right of the screen here. You've got tools, fill and sign, and comment. In this instance we want to comment. So we're going to click on our commenting, and we've got a whole selection of different tools up here to allow us to do commenting. I think I can zoom in and show you a bit more clearly. I'm going to be making changes that aren't necessary. They're just example changes. In the first instance, what I'm going to say is, oh, do you know what? Mike's missed the fact that we always have lowercase for our titles. So I'm going to tell him that I don't want an uppercase R in this right attitude, right results headline. There are a couple of ways I can do that. I can choose sticky note, and I can take my sticky note, I can whack it on there, and I can say make lower case, like that, and there's a note, and it's come in, and it's great. And they're okay for big changes like that. Ideally, the sticky note should only be used for changing logos, changing pictures. When you've got text, if you put a sticky note within a paragraph, it doesn't always stay in the same place. So when I open it, unless you've been very specific within the sticky note, I often find that I'm having to search for the text within the paragraph that you're referring to. So big headline like that, it's not so bad because I only see one. But in this instance, I'm going to get rid of that sticky note, which is just highlight it and delete it. So instead of using the notes tool, what we're going to do is use the text highlighting and notes tool, which is much more specific and much more accurate. There are several ways to annotate text. The easiest one in the first instance is to use the text type and note tool, which, again, if I can zoom in, is this one here. So I would click on that, and I would go over and I would just highlight my R, and in there in my notes box, because most importantly, if you just put in R like that, I don't actually know all the time. In this instance it'd be fairly obvious, but I don't know what it is you want me to do. So you have to imagine yourself as the recipient. What is it that you're asking that recipient to do with that? So you would just put, you could say whatever you like, make lower case. That's fine. I open that up, I see that, and it says make lowercase. There's no ambiguity. I know exactly what you're asking me to do. So right attitude, right results needs a lowercase r. That's fine. If you wanted to be a bit more accurate when we get into smaller text, paragraphs on pages, etc., holding down the command and space bar together produces the magnification arrow, and then you just click and drag over the area that you want to work in. Instantly it's nice and big on your screen. So I can then go back to my comments list, and I can say that it's a Pressure Point GB Performance Workshop. It's actually not a Performance Workshop, this one. We've decided it's going to be a change to skills. Then to get back to my full screen of the page, and just do a Command 0. That gets me straight back in. So again, to zoom in, I hold down my Command button and my space bar, lasso the area that I want to highlight, make my change, and then Command 0 brings me back to full screen. Okay, so there are 2 changes on that page which are perfectly clear. Going into the next page, I would need to say the same again. Don't assume that I'm going to pick that up. So again, I want to zoom into there, just so that it's easier for me to make my notes. Go to my annotating tool, make lower case. Done. I can move around using my hand. I can go into this paragraph here and I can say, actually, we're going to get rid of manage your dark side. That's no longer in this program. And the easy way to do that is just to say, I'm going to strike through that text. I know as a recipient that text that's striked through or stroked through is to be deleted. So I would go and choose the T bar with a red line through it. That's a strike through. And I just go all the way through there, and that says to me as a recipient, get rid of that. If you wanted to annotate it, you just double click it and say, just to absolutely make sure, you say delete. Back to my full screen view, moving on. When you're in paragraphs, this is a good example. So let's take this nice big paragraph here, the law of control. Now none of these changes will make any sense, but this is to highlight one of the reasons why we would do what we do. It's a case of taking a view. If in a paragraph of this size you've got 5 different comments to make, in that example what we've done is we've changed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things within a paragraph. You've had to go in and make 6 notes. It's generated 6 notes within that paragraph. That's where we take a view and say, actually what would be easier is to highlight the whole paragraph, make our changes in the note, and just say replace para. So I'm just going to quickly delete these, which is just a case of highlighting them and hitting the delete key. That deletes these notes. So you can see if you decide to make that difference. So I can copy that whole paragraph, paste it into a note, and then say in that note, replace with this entire paragraph. So I'll make my changes. So we do that first of all by selecting our text tool, which is up here, striking through the copy that we want to replace, edit copy, go back to our little hand tool just to unhighlight it, and then highlight that text. Up pops our note, and in our note we'll paste the type, and then we can say at the beginning, I'm going to say replace para, and then I'll say we feel great about ourselves to a degree to which we feel we're in control of our lives, and we feel out of harmony with ourselves to the degree by which we feel we are controlled by circumstances or by other people sometimes. Okay? So I now know that I want to replace that entire para, and you've only had to make one change rather than a set of changes within the paragraph itself. There are a number of other things that you can do with the tools. I mentioned the notes tool. So a notes tool might be useful in here where we've got the bylaw and the orange behind the bylaw. Let's say we've decided that this version is purple. So I might say, right, okay, that I need to highlight as a note. So I'm going to stick a note in there, and I'm going to say change to pressure point purple. Now that's fine, because that's a note. It's not highlighting a specific bit of text. It's just a note to me to say change that to pressure point purple. I could also do that within the text, because that's orange as well. So I can say change to pressure point purple. And any other orange in the document. So you don't have to do it anymore. I've got that instruction now. Change to put. Actually, we could put it in that one. We've done it in the first one. We can highlight, we can change, we can copy, we can zoom into that area there, and we can say that we don't want that first para entirely. So we're going to use our strike through tool. I know that means to me, that just means delete that. Don't do anything else. You don't need to annotate it. You don't need to put a note on it. You don't need to do any more than that. Okay. Then we save that. So what happens when that comes into me? Well, it normally comes in by email. So I've copied that from the email into my PDF comments in. And there it is, waiting for me to go. So I open that up, and that's opening into full Acrobat. I use my Alt key, click the green arrow, brings it to nice and full screen. Now, as you can see, I'm looking at, there's quite a lot of mess and notes and all sorts around the screen. So I just click on comments like that, and my comment list on the right hand side is then highlighted. All my notes disappear, and there's my comment list. So there's your annotated PDF coming in to me. I've received that. And I have a quick look, and I go and make lowercase, change to skills. Yeah, that's fine. Make lowercase. Yeah, oh, delete that line. Yeah, replace that whole para. Change that to purple. Oh, purple throughout. Yeah, fine. Okay, and delete that. Right, they're all making perfect sense to me. Not a problem. So I then go and I open up Workbook Development 2A, and I think to myself, those changes aren't major changes. When I have a document that comes in and it's full of really big changes throughout, I often would say, right, okay, I'm going to actually update that to version 3. Happy in the knowledge that I've still got version 2A to go back to if things go wrong. But in this case, I thought, no, there are quite a few changes in there, so I'm going to go to version 3 on my InDesign file that's creating all these PDFs back and forth. So I open that, and I go to the first page, and I look at that, and this is where what's called the app switcher, which is Command Tab, brings up all the applications that are open on your Mac. So I'm in InDesign at the moment, and I want to go and flip between InDesign and Acrobat. So I'm going to go from InDesign and choose Acrobat. And now when I flick it again, it goes straight back to InDesign and Acrobat, because it's always the two that are next to each other, InDesign and Acrobat. So I will constantly now be flicking between the two. So I'll go into my annotated PDF, and I'll have a look at the first comment, make lowercase, bing, onto the next comment. And I just tick. What I do then is I tick, I don't know if you can see over there, I move it into the middle. Over here, I'll tick that to say, done that. That note has been completed. On to the next one. Change performance to skills. Okay, back to my InDesign. Skills. Back to PDF, tick. On to the next page. Right attitude, right results. Okay, next page. Already done that. Cheated again. I think that was conversations. This is what happens when amends come in on the phone. things have become amended without me seeing an annotated PDF, but you know, that's why we're going through this. Back to Acrobat. Tick. Already done that. Manage your dark side, delete. Brilliant. Okay. Manage your dark side, delete. Now that's brought law of belief in, because what I haven't shown you is that I've got a 5mm gap behind there. That's fine. That's for me to deal with and not for you to worry about. Back to Acrobat, delete. Yep, done that. Oh, what's this? Replace para. Oh, okay, great. Let's find that in my InDesign document. Okay, there it is, ready to go. Here's my para. Copy all of that into there. Boom. One amend, not 5 or 6 within the same paragraph. 1, done. Tick, done that. And then finally, click on that one. Okay, that means I've got to delete that whole paragraph on that page, which is there. Gone. Boom. Okay, I save. So I'm now happy that all of those things have been carried out. If you had 30, 40, 50, 60 changes within a document, multi-page document, then what I tend to do is I work through them like that. And when I come to the end, I'll click on there and I'll say, show only unchecked. Now, if I've missed a couple and I haven't ticked to say I've done, that's where they're highlighted. And there's one. No, I've done that actually, so let's tick it. And then I can say, right, I've done them all. Brilliant. I'd save that. I'd save that. And then I would export this as version 3, because that's what's coming back to you. Okay. And the beauty of it is that you would then receive version 3 by email, which is great. You go, okay. And rather than it being the amends having been transcribed over the phone and you having no real note of what it was that you said, or it might have been 2 days ago. I don't always turn things around instantly. What you can do is you can open the document that you sent to me and you can say, right, what did I tell Mike to do? Let's have a look. Make lowercase. Okay, let's have a look. Yep, he's done that. He's made that lowercase, etc. You can cross-check to make sure you're another pair of eyes to make sure that what you've asked me to do has been carried out. Hopefully that was helpful. Just rewind, play again, have a play, send it back to me. I'll let you know how I get on, and eventually we'll get into a really good rhythm with these things and we'll be turning jobs around in no time whatsoever. It'll be brilliant. Okay? I hope that was helpful. Please email me any comments, give me a call. Okay, cheers, bye.